how good was it to see what Josiah was able to do out there?
Really, we're all happy for Josiah. I mean, we know what he's meant to our program, and he's dealt with a lot. But he came back and practiced after we got back from A&M, and probably did more than we thought, but he wanted to do it. And then yesterday we obviously tapered back, and then today, he was terrific. And his presence has such a major impact on our team because he's been in so many big opportunities and big game situations, but just I think his presence takes a lot of pressure off guys, and he gives his teammates a sense of comfort. And I thought when he came on the floor tonight, the first half, he was obviously terrific. I thought he played with great poise and pace, and got a little tired, but I kept telling him, I said, hey, I'll let you tell me. And when I took him out there at the end, he said, what do you think? I said, I think you've had enough, and because we know we're going to continue to need him going down the stretch. But his presence just makes a huge difference with our team.
Rob, Noah, and Grant.
Coach, for a team that has lost 3 or 4, how happy were you to see him come out and be that sharp on both ends of the floor?
Well, Rob, this group of guys, they've been very resilient. I mean, we're always disappointed when we don't win. Obviously, we're disappointed sometimes when we win and we don't play well. But these guys, they care about each other. They've, every team in the country goes through the ups and downs. But I will just say that these guys have embraced each other in a great way, and at no point in time during this have they not gone to practice hard, not been locked in on what we've tried to do. The one thing that we've been talking about all year was being more disciplined defensively by not fouling, and I thought tonight it's one of the first games I don't even know if it has been where neither team I think got to the bonus, but then and I thought both teams played really hard, but we've talked about not bailing people out with fouls, and then obviously the turnovers, only 4 turnovers. I would like our guys to think and understand if we take care of the ball and get shots up, we've got a chance to be the offensive team that I think they know that we can be and what we think.
Coach, you touched on a little bit about Josiah just handling this. I mean, how tough is that on a veteran guy to have 2 stints this year where injuries at the sideline, and how has he kind of handled that mentally, you think?
Well, again, you think about it, he's the one guy that's had to shoulder the load. I mean, the guys are what would be the core guys. I mean, he hasn't missed, and there's no doubt that he's getting game plan for every night. He and Santi, but Z has, I think he's handled it great. I mean, because he has no doubt about it. Now, he's felt the weight of the world on his shoulder at times. I mean, that's why it's important as a team that everyone understands collectively what they need to do, the roles that we need them to play, and not feel like we've got to put everything on him at times. But there is no doubt, because he's highly competitive. One of his biggest flaws is when he makes a mistake, he wants to fix it right then and right there, which sometimes can compound it. But he's grown up in so many different ways, and again, he came here as a guy that was not considered a point guard, but he's learning how to play it and learning how to manage a team and run a team, but he's done a really terrific job with a lot being placed on his shoulders.
We've seen Julian back on the practice floor and go through pregame. What do you need to see from him to get him back?
That's their decision. I mean, when we left today, we weren't sure. Yesterday, I mean, Josiah told me point blank, he said, I'm playing. He told me that after the A&M game. He was going to work his way back into practice, and he said, I'm going to play something if it's only 5 minutes, whatever I have to do to try to help these guys, I'm willing to do it. And he said, again, I don't think he thinks in his mind that he's back to playing 25 to 28 minutes yet. But he said that doesn't matter. If you need me for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I'll be ready. And then Julian went through it, and Tyreek. I mean, we didn't know anything about it until right before game time. His ankle really blew up on him, and he's not even sure why. He doesn't know what happened with it, but Julian goes through, shoot around, and he knows. And I mean, a hip flexor is a problem. I mean, and so he's trying to do what he has to do with it. Certainly, Tyreek, but we weren't sure. That's why I told you guys. I mean, it'll all be a game time decision, because I know Josiah was sore yesterday after what he did the day before, and I think he'll be. And it wasn't just the injury itself; it's probably his body going at the pace that he had to go through. And but that's older guys can work through it.
David, then Mike, then Wes.
Rick, you said before you think the SEC is in good shape with the six new coaches that are in the league this year. I know it may be hard for the casual eye to see South Carolina with what you did twice against them, but what do you like that Lamont's bringing philosophically to this league?
Well, when I went back, watched our game obviously a couple times coming into here, they played really hard in Columbia early in the year, and he's down a player, and when you're down players, even though as a group, obviously we're been established longer, and we think that through these injuries, we watched Jemai Meshack get better. We watched B.J. Edwards. Those guys might not have gotten the minutes they're getting right now, which is going to help us this year, the rest of the year, and moving forward. He doesn't have that margin of error. That's why every game when you're fighting to build a program and you're scratching and clawing, trying to get everything in place, and Lamont's done a great job. His teams. We've had a tough couple of weeks here. Some teams have had to fight and claw from the very beginning, and when they continue to play hard and improve, I think it's a tremendous compliment to the players, the coaching staff, and everyone involved. And again, when we broke them down last night with our team, or what actually started 2 days ago, that's the thing we talked about. These guys are going to come play. They're not, I don't care, forget their record. They just took the number one team in the country to overtime and had a chance to win it, and a couple calls here or there go their way, they do win the game. And that to me is the ultimate compliment to Lamont and his staff that they're doing that here with 3 games going the regular season. And he did a great job obviously at Chattanooga, but he's going to, he'll build a program there, and it'll be exactly what he wants to do. But you have to be impressed with what he's done with this group.
Rick, what did you like about what Hirosh gave you? I guess especially early in the first half, seemed like he came back a little bit.
Again, early in the game, we were concerned about that matchup with Jonas getting pushed around and shoved underneath, and early in the game, and we told him, said, your defense starts when the shot goes up. And early in the game, he was getting shoved underneath the basket. Nothing illegal. There was nothing illegal about it. There was not a foul there. But that's where he's got to. He was not as effective the other night because there's no doubt. You look at the scout report on him. Teams that have big, strong guys, they're going right at him, and that's where he's going to have to get his hands up and understand he's going to have to get better leverage. But I thought he came back. I thought he fought back, and again, every minute he plays against guys physical, he's going to have to understand what he's going to have to do to be effective against them. But he came back, made some good plays, and finished playing a good game for us. Did I answer your question?
More or less.
Yeah, because I was thinking about his fouls, and he did get fouled at the end of the first half. That was a push, but the others were not. So I had a nice little talk with the referees there, but I thought those guys did a good job. I love the fact that the mid-range game. I think the mid-range game needs to be officiated like the three-point line because there's a lot of teams that believe in the mid-range game, and if you're going to call allowing players to, come down out there, same thing's got to be true inside the three-point line.
What's this team like to coach when things aren't going well? Do guys become more receptive to some things that need to be changed, or do you see a frustrated bunch when these guys aren't playing the way they want? What's it like to deal with these guys?
I don't think I would ever use the word frustrated with them. I would say, when we, like I said, when you have expectations of wanting to win every game, you're always going to be disappointed. And even when, you think about it this year, we've had a tough February, but yet we've had chances to win every one of those games, probably with the exception of one where I didn't think that we were very good. And I think this group has been real with each other, transparent. I think they've shown resiliency because the one thing they haven't done is stop working. Our practices, you guys see them someday. They're going to compete and do that. And this time of year, we do taper back, but we expect the intensity and the effort to be there every day, regardless of if it's an hour 10, whatever, 50 minutes, whatever it may be. They've done that. I think they're a very unselfish group of guys. They pull for each other. Different, like Tobey's been out there playing more than New Roche. He stayed ready, went in and affected the game early. And but as a group of guys, I think any coach in America would like to coach these guys.
Finish up with Rick, Reese, and Ben.
Coach Lamont said that your team's physicality was really tough to deal with tonight. Just how important is that kind of play style this late in the season?
Well, it's who we are, and we can but it's not just our post players. I think our guards are physical, in terms of trying to fight through cuts, screens. And Lamont's teams do a good job with the ball screen. They get there tight, and they really snake it, wiggle in there. And I will say this, by the numbers, we're supposed to be a pretty good ball screen team, but it gets harder. Everything gets harder this time of year because teams have been doing a lot of repetition work, and they're good at what they do. But our guards and our post guys, we expect those guys to be physical, but I think sometimes it gets lost that our perimeter defense is pretty physical too. And like I said, the thing we've talked about is doing it without fouling and reaching. We talk so much about not slapping down, and we want to deflect it, but we don't. We've had too many. I mean, I said it the other night. You can't foul 3-point shooters in games that we're going to be in here from here on out, or any time really. And we've got to be more disciplined there keep that physicality.
Coach in the back here, and when Isaiah Sulak hit that jumper, what do you feel as a coach when a guy who puts so much in the scout team gets an opportunity to make a jumper like that?
Well, Isaiah's been a great part of our program, and the concussion that he had, I saw it. I mean, when it happened, when he went down to get a loose ball, and Santi was coming to it, and Santi's knee was bent, and he got hit right here as hard as somebody could be hit. I mean, it was just where the perfect storm came together, and what he had to go through from, makes you realize the concussion protocol that he went through here and how serious it is, because he's a competitive player, and we actually, the last week, we've had he and BJ ready to play. We told them both at A&M we had Isaiah ready because we weren't sure what was going to happen there, and we watch him. And I asked BJ one day, I said, "What do you think you're ready to play?" He said, "Coach, when you guard Zakai Ziegler every day, you're ready to play." And the same thing with Isaiah. He said, when you have to guard Santi every day, you're ready to play. And Isaiah is a good offensive player. He really is, but he's grown a lot in so many different areas. But obviously you can tell the respect that our team has for our walk-ons and the job they do. And even though by name they're walk-on, they're a huge part. We treat them just like they're scholarship players, and we really truly expect them to have a voice in our program.
Rick, Roche and Olivier were really efficient tonight. What do they need to do to do that consistently going forward?
Well, you just answered it, consistently.
How do they do that?
Again, staying locked into that, understanding exactly what we need, night in and night out, and knowing that they're going to give it to us. And but that's the word, and they know it. And we've just it's all about this time of year, because you guys know as well as I do. You've got to be able to go in there and get some of those baskets from those players, and we need them to do it.
Coach, thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.